Okay, so we've got a problem here, and it's going to ask us to use the high-low method to solve. So Kara Wu, owner of Flower Power, operates a local chain of floral shops. Each shop has its own delivery van. Instead of charging a flat delivery fee, Wu wants to set up the delivery fee based on the distance driven to deliver the flowers. Wu wants to separate the fixed and variable portions of her van operating costs so that she has a better idea how delivery distance affects these costs. She has the following data from the past 7 months and asks us to predict the van's operating costs at a volume of 16,000 miles. Okay, so if we're going to use the high-low method, the first step here is that we need to look at the high level of activity and the low level of activity. So the activity level here will be miles driven. We're not concerned with high and low levels of costs. We're only concerned with activity level. So if I go through here, it looks like 17,500 is going to be my high level of activity, and the low number here, 14,500, will be July, my low level of activity. And I'm going to highlight the costs associated with each of those as well, because we're going to need that information to prepare the high-low method here. So the first step is going to be to determine our variable cost per unit. And the variable cost per unit, if you recall, takes the change in total cost divided by the change in activity level. Or the change in volume would be another way we could say that. So change in total cost. The change in total cost will be the difference here between the 5,700 cost at the high level of activity and the 4,920 at the low level of activity. Then we're going to take the difference in the two activity levels. So 17,500 minus 14,500. And that should be 780 divided by 3,000. 780 divided by 3,000 is 0.26. So that's my variable cost per unit. Now that we know the variable cost per unit, we can calculate our total variable cost. So you either pick the high or the low level of activity. It doesn't matter which one you want to take. Either one will give you the same answer. So at this time, let's look at the high level, which was February. And we're going to take 17,500 miles times the 26-cent unit variable cost. So 17,500 times 26 gives me 4,550 total variable cost. Ugh. Okay, so I know my total variable cost is 4,550, and I also know that my total operating cost here was 5,700. So remember, total cost of 5,700 minus my variable cost, which is going to be 4,550, is going to give me my fixed cost. So if that's the case, this means that my fixed costs are 1,150. Okay, total cost minus variable cost gives me fixed cost. Now we can go back and we can use our low level of activity, and we can just double check that. Well, I want to go ahead and calculate. So it asks us to predict the volume at 16,000 miles. So we haven't quite done that yet. So remember, we have a formula that we use here, and I'll just squeeze it in down here at the bottom. It is y equals, and it would be our variable cost, which is 26 cents, x, which is our activity level, plus the fixed cost, which in this case is going to be 1,150. So now that we know that formula, we can say y, or our total costs, are going to equal 26 cents times the 16,000 units plus 1,150. So let's go ahead and do that math. And hopefully, if I calculate it correctly, that's going to be 4,160, which is our 26 cents times 16,000 plus 1,150. And 4160 plus 1150 should be 5310. So this should be, using the high-low method, the amount that they should estimate to be the total cost at 16,000 miles. Now I realize we do have an example up here where they actually had 16,000 and it wasn't this amount, but using the high-low method, that would be the amount we would estimate. You can also double check again this fixed cost amount and by recalculating at the low level and make sure you do get at 14 or 4920. Thank you.